All right. Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It is time for office hours once again on the ViaMonstra Academy. Hey there, Andrew. How is life?
Oh, wonderful. We were just talking about this a little bit, but in these 4-day weeks, they really aren't that short, are they?
Well, the problem is you almost have to squeeze in still 5 days of work, but you only have 4 days to do it. But Memorial Day was a good day.
Yeah.
Relaxed. We're out in the sun for a bit, and yeah, it
Good.
was yeah.
Good. Got out with the family and everything, got some quality time.
Yeah, indeed.
That's fantastic. You got to do that. You got to get away from the desk every now and then.
Every now and then, yeah.
Awesome. Doing well otherwise. It's nice out. The last I looked, sun was shining. We're at the end of the month almost, which means summer is just around the corner. I'll take that.
Yeah, indeed.
On that note, though, that's not the only thing going on is nice weather. We have a ton of news. It seems like we've got stuff coming out from Microsoft. We've got career updates. We've got conference updates. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. How about we start sharing a little bit of that?
Well, I'll be happy to get that going.
All right.
Just adjust this a little bit. Perfect.
Is it showing up?
I can see it.
Oh, strange. I see the preview. So you see me moving my browser right there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to take your word for it because it's just showing black on my end.
Well,
all right.
Go ahead and I can share the stream or look at the stream from my phone and see if it moves.
Strange. I see the preview.
It moves.
So you see
and
me
it
moving
sounds.
my browser?
So it's probably working.
All right. Well, that's all right. As long as it's working for everybody else, I'm good. So, as you may notice up here on the screen that I am, in fact, sharing, big news last week in our space was Intune Service Release 2405 came out near the end of the week. A number of things that we're seeing from 2405 that I know myself, Johan, and the community are pretty excited about. So some additional macOS settings catalog stuff, though Johan and I are focused on the Windows side of things. I do want to point out, always nice when we see these macOS improvements for our friends that are managing Macs in their environment. So good stuff there. We're seeing more Mac stuff show up in the settings catalog. That's a great thing. A couple of improvements on the Windows side of things. This improvement is pretty nice. End user access to BitLocker recovery keys for enrolled Windows devices. So end users can now view their BitLocker recovery key when they need it from the company portal website. So anything that we can do, I think, for self-service is easy self-service, I should say, is an improvement for our user experience. So I'm happy to see that. We continue to get some new reports, native reports within Intune. So there's a new version of the hardware attestation report. I can show you what that looks like real quick, though. On my end, most of my devices are VMs, so we're not going to see a ton. If we look at the hardware attestation report here, you'll see basically what is going to populate here for a given physical device is, as long as we're using device health attestation, we'll see BitLocker status, secure boot status, virtualization-based security, all these sorts of things built right into this report. So this looks like this is going to be a nice report. Haven't had a chance to play around with this in a production environment yet because it's very new, but something to take a look at for sure. This is another one that is showing up that I like, monitor device delete actions. So there are some improvements here. If we go to our devices and then monitor, and device actions. You'll see I just have a couple here in my environment at the moment where I tried last week to launch remote help on a particular client. Wasn't configured properly for remote help, so we see the status failed. But you'll see additional information here now, like device deletions, something to keep track of, especially in a production environment. So nice improvement there. We're also seeing the feature update policy in Intune. Up to this point has basically just been a required update, and you determine the essentially when the update is available and the deadline for that rollout. We now have the ability to set these feature updates to optional. Though I did see earlier this week that some users or some admins were setting this policy up as optional, but the update was still coming down as required. Did you happen to see any status updates on that, Johan?
Did not, but I did see the same posts.
Okay.
I
So
haven't
we're
tried
gonna,
it out yet in my lab, but that might be something to watch out for.
Same here. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen more than one person have that experience, so definitely keep an eye out for that. But this is a feature we're going to keep an eye out on. It's pretty interesting, I think. Last but not least, on 2405, the Defender for Endpoint security baseline in Intune, the default baseline, has now been updated to use the settings catalog and has been updated to version 24H1. This security baseline hadn't seen an update since late 2021, I believe. It's been a little while.
Just around the corner, yeah.
But nonetheless, happy to see that update now. I haven't. I have the update created, or the new security baseline created, but I haven't done the comparisons yet to see what exactly has changed. So hopefully, with a few moments' time over the next week, I'll be able to talk a little bit about that more next week. But that was the 2405 release. Now, not directly related to 2405, but something that we know is coming, and we talked about this a little bit last week, though this has been sort of known for a while, was what some people have been calling Autopilot V2, or some of the community has been calling Autopilot V2 because we didn't really have a name for it. That was the most appropriate way to call it, I think. We've now found out that that is really a new Autopilot profile. And so this was announced last week that is coming for us. It's not coming for us. That sounds a little aggressive. That
Will be available, yeah.
Thank you. It'll be available for us soon. The reason I bring this up again is because there were a lot of questions that came up out of this post and in the community, and Microsoft responded to several of those questions down here at the bottom of this post here. So you can see there's a number of questions. The first one is actually what I just touched on. Is this a new version of Autopilot? And the answer is no, it's not a new version, because what we have out there is going to continue to work. So this is essentially a new profile. And there's some other questions in here as well. Lior has also mentioned that they will be doing a round 2 of answers. So if you still have questions for this upcoming new profile for Autopilot, how it might affect you or your organization, and that hasn't been addressed yet in these questions or the post itself, please hop in this post. They've been encouraging that people hop in here, ask questions. We see none other than Michael Niehaus himself is asking questions here that we're hoping to get answered. So please, if you have questions, I would encourage you to hop in and ask them. We'll be looking for answers and keeping an eye out on this in the future. Any comments or anything you'd like to add there, Johan?
Nope.
All right. Couple of other updates I mentioned. Those are sort of two of the major ones that we had. For those of you that are using Windows Update for Business reports, in Log Analytics, there is an update now where you can alert on missing devices in those reports. So pretty interesting update. Just caught wind of this yesterday. Somebody shared it with us. So I have not gone and configured this alert yet or anything, but looks like this is going to be very useful. That's a common KPI when we're looking at patch compliance. Is how many devices are we actually covering? Our patch compliance may look like 100% in the reports, but if we're missing some percentage of devices, then how can we really be sure? So this will help us determine which devices are missing, how we can track them down. You can see here as an example, there are a couple of devices that we're not sending device diagnostics up to this solution. Sorry, just popping over my camera. There we go. So great improvement there. Happy to see this. Now, some exciting news I saw for you, sir. You will be heading over to Europe pretty soon. Over to the Workplace Ninja Summit. How about that? Oh, are you muted?
I'm muted. I'm very excited to go to Switzerland. I've been a good while since I've been there, but I probably have to bring a second suitcase just to bring home chocolate with me.
Please, I would like to put in my formal request for some chocolate. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what we have here is the tweet for that announcement. And there's a nice, a short, maybe 10, 12-minute interview here about that announcement. So I would encourage you all to check this out. Very exciting stuff. I'm very happy for you and the conference that they'll have you there. So I'm excited to hear about it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
So I had some fun on Sunday, as you do on Sunday evenings, of course, based on a post that I'll share here in a moment from Michael Niehaus. I went ahead and started creating my lab VMs for Windows 11 24 H2, which is now officially in release preview, as well as I'll save this for a later time, but also started deploying Windows Server 2025. So that's pretty exciting to get those into my lab for the first time. Pretty excited to see how many people apparently agree with spending their Sunday nights deploying release preview versions of Windows 11. That's the way this community does things. It's awesome.
Yeah, the support were overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. Quite surprising, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the inspiration for doing that on over the weekend was this post from Michael Niehaus, basically detailing how to get the ISOs after Microsoft announced last week that this was being released to the release preview channel, as well as some encouragement to get going to Windows 11. I like his comment here. Your time is running out to either move from Windows 10 to 11 or write Microsoft a big check for extended support. So kudos to Michael for writing this post and getting me motivated to check out 24H2. Would recommend the rest of you do that as well.
Yeah, but it's funny that you mention it, because me and another Mike Terrell, we presented 2 upgrade sessions to Windows 11 during MMS. And we had a good 200 people in the audience every time for each of those 2 sessions. And we asked the folks in the audience, like, all right, how far are you with your Windows 11 upgrades? And maybe 2 people said that we're like 75% done, not many more, 50% done. And most of the people in the room, they had just started. And it's only a year. And yeah, I was quite surprised to see that number.
Yeah, that is surprising.
So, anyhow.
Well, consider this another friendly reminder. You may want to get started on that if you haven't already.
Yeah.
So, last but not least, the last thing I had was a comment related to something that you were talking about last week that I know you'll get into here in a moment. But Mark Godfrey posted, if you are an HP customer using the Manageability Integration Kit with ConfigMgr, it's broken due to some of the things that broke with the 2403 rollout. So that is an FYI. And the second part of that, our friend Gary Blok, who I see is happily joining us today. Hello, Gary. Posted a workaround for this. If you are using the HP MIK and you've already upgraded to 2403 and you need a workaround, here is that workaround from Gary. So we'll make sure both of these tweets get posted in our links for this evening. But Johan, this was not the only thing that broke with 2403, nor is it the only fix or workaround, I should say, is it?
No, pretty much, I wouldn't say every console extension, but there were more than just this one that didn't work as expected. So let me see, if I do this. All right. You have the same problem with the MDT integration, and the way it manifests itself, or the symptoms of it, is you basically get an application crash in the console and it goes away, and you will see these events in the event log, in the application event log, something like this. And Ahmed with Dell reached out to me. He found out the same fix that Gary found out for the HP stuff. Works also for MDT. So he posted a article here on LinkedIn. I'm not going to join it right now or logged in, but it's basically the same here, that you go ahead and update those XML files and life is good. And then you can create sequences again. You can create new boot images again with this extension. So thank everyone for chiming in with that solution. That was good stuff. Something else I stumbled across was they are doing another, or Microsoft is doing another Tech Community Live now in June. So a 4-hour Ask Me Anything or AMA sessions. So I highly recommend to join that one. The agenda will apparently be released here on, I think they are a little bit behind.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So maybe keep an eye on this the next upcoming days, and we will keep an eye on it as well. And then tweet out if you see any changes. But changes are coming, apparently. So looking forward to that one. Another update came from, again, Michael Niehaus. He posted some of the latest information from Microsoft regarding the VBScript, but also gave a little bit of information about VBScript. It's not just VBScripts that you happen to have as a VBS or WSF extension. But first, deprecation phase 2 is announced for 2027 timeframe. And after that, at some point, it's going to be removed from Windows. But until then, Microsoft has a good deal of work. And a little bit surprisingly, perhaps, but what you will find, let's see what that one was. There are tons of app installers, MSIs, that is using VBScripts in them. So they will, of course, also break if you remove the VBScript component. So I have a feeling we're going to see it around for quite some bit or quite some time. But at least you have some time here to upgrade your normal scripts. So what I do recommend, folks that are, for example, today you're using ConfigMgr with the MDT integration, that is a bunch of scripts, start porting over to some PowerShell equivalents, or start to review what you have done in terms of your customizations. Maybe there are options available natively in ConfigMgr now that weren't available when you developed this, and maybe there are other platforms available or solutions that can achieve the same result. So do a bit of an overhaul of what you had in terms of customizations, and slowly move away from using VBScript and over to PowerShell or managed code for this. Then we had a quite exciting announcement, and I can't say I'm super surprised, but Patch My PC were able to snatch Rudy. So glad to see that. Glad to see. So Patch My
Definitely.
PC, you'll be happy with Rudy, and Rudy, I'm pretty sure you'll be happy with Patch My PC.
Heck of a team that they're building or have built over there. That's for sure. Congratulations, Rudy.
Some smart folks over there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was all I had in terms of news. Do we have any? Oh, no, I forgot one. I scribbled it down on a piece of paper earlier. It was an email I got. It was a request for a video on improving OSD speed. I didn't have time to prepare one for a session today. Agenda, and I will publish that up on the Implement Research YouTube channel. So if you can hold out until around midnight, whenever I get done with it, it will be up there, because I kind of promised to do that. So it'll be.
All right. Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. What questions do we have?
First question is for you from Noah. Is the AJ over your shoulder for Andrew Johnson?
Of course, absolutely.
At least when we're on office hours.
Exactly. No, the idea behind those is that Amy gave me them for a birthday a while back. So
Yeah.
Johan, but that turned out pretty well for office hours also.
Love it.
Yeah.
So Noah also has a ConfigMgr related question as well. Is there a way to trigger a client reinstall once a computer comes back online? There are a handful that need to be reinstalled, but I'm just waiting to catch them online.
Yeah. First of all, when upgrades are kicking in, when ConfigMgr is on upgrade, it creates a scheduled task. And that one, I forgot how many times it retries. If your client is missed because it happened to be not available, it usually gets added at some point later. But if it missed that window, or this is that opportunity, you can either do a client push if the device is online. But as I read, this question was that device was not online, and you want to just catch it, it becomes online. For that, I highly recommend to use a startup script. The startup script, even though it still is VBScript, someone please write it for PowerShell. I think Jason already sent out an email and asked for help with it. But if we go to, does it still call it Memo the Win?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. It will redirect to a site as the right certificate home. Yeah, anyhow, here it is. In the, this is funny. It's a script, but it's in the tools section. There is the script section, but yeah, anyhow. Client startup script. This is an excellent way to catch devices that haven't installed the agent or version of the agent. Very simple to set up. Group policy in Active Directory is typically how it's done. Bring out the script and a scheduled task to run it. Done. Startup script I've seen also being used very commonly, like a group policy startup script for this. Excellent. That means that every device that has the C, when it boots up, it will check whether it has the client, it will check whether it has the right version of the client, and will go ahead and install it. So highly recommend. been in use for well over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of customers are using this, or organizations are using this.
Added bonus to coming to this page is you get hungry every time you see it.
That
But agreed. Fantastic solution. All right. Gary just laughing at my comment here earlier about autopilot. It's coming for us. Yes, that was
yeah.
maybe that needs to show up as a short on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So another comment here on the hardware attestation report showing up empty. That's the report that I showed a little bit ago. And how do we enable that? So I happen to look in another tenant that I have that does have some physical devices, and it's also showing up empty for me. So unless you have any clever ideas there off the top of your head, Johan, I may have to look into this one a little bit for next week.
No, nothing I have seen.
Okay. Let me just make a note to myself, because if I can't get it to show up, at least that's something that will report on Twitter or provide some feedback on that.
Yep.
Or if anybody happens to watch this in the future, knows why it's empty, please share.
Indeed.
Comment here from Akos, just excited to see you again in Switzerland. Been a while since you two have met up, so looks like he's happy for that.
Yeah, sounds a great opportunity to share a beer in the bar. Or have a beer. Yeah.
That's right. Gary's got some follow-up comments here on 24H2. If you are testing ARM devices, you will want Windows 11 24H2. Performance improvements, bug fixes for Hyper-V. So it sounds like a lot of benefit for 24H2 on ARM devices. Not entirely surprising, but fantastic idea to start testing with that.
Yep. No, I had a post out. We talked about this weeks back on how to set up ARM deployment in ConfigMgr. My first test was with a virtual machine, followed up with Lenovo, and I just got myself an HP device capable of 64-bit or ARM 64 deployment. So thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. And yeah, really fun to just test this out with Windows 11 24H2. See what happens.
Awesome. Looking forward to your feedback and thoughts on that one.
All righty.
All right. Any thoughts on removing the junk, quote unquote, junk Appx packages during OSD? Any resources for what is safe to remove from various Windows releases?
Yes. And this I proudly stole from both Gary Blok and Mike Terrell at the same time, which is impressive. But it's fairly straightforward to remove apps that you don't want, either from the image before you deploy it, and that's a kind of a static option because they are removed for obviously all devices that you deploy that image. That's one option to simply, I was using the OSD Builder module to do that, PowerShell module, very straightforward, to provide a list of apps that you want to remove and then tell OSD Builder to remove them. Or you add a script to your sequence that will remove, and of course you can have different scripts for different departments, different sites, stuff like that. So you can have different lists of apps that you want to remove for different business units and whatever. And that's available here if you want to play around with that one. And that one will show the applications that is being removed. I actually saw a tweet just been like an hour ago, just before we started this call. See if I can find it. It was Mike Terrell that posted for 24H2. See if My searching skills are failing me. There we go. Found it.
Got it.
Yeah. So this one here, and this is also a clip from. It looks like it was the builder, the grid one. But basically, okay, what can we do for 24H2? And there was debate on what that one was. We think it is the copy paste in between phone and a PC, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played around with that one.
Sandy actually replied with a post on it in the thread, and I think you were. I didn't get the chance to read through the entire post yet because, like you said, it was just posted. But I think you were spot on with that in the new the new version of this. Basically, causes some issues.
Let me see. I found Sandy's reply there. Okay. Yeah, it was indeed.
And it looks like Mike popped in here too and said that yes, cross device can be added to that list.
Beautiful. All right. I guess I'll version detection between 23 and H2 and 24 H2. So
good idea.
Guess I know what to do this weekend. Beautiful. But now, these are great options to move the apps, depending on how you want to do it.
Absolutely. All right. I've got another config manager question here. Facing slow patch installation via config manager, how can I diagnose the cause? Is there a SQL query that could maybe show if the device communication is getting queued or something like that?
Could be so many things, though.
Yeah, it could depend on where that slowdown is happening.
I mean, you usually doing config devices in this window, and that device maintenance window hasn't happened yet, and therefore doesn't get the patch installed when you think it will be installed. Say that you make a deadline available for a patch, but there is a maintenance window to install it until it reaches that maintenance window. Over the years, I've also seen companies creating maintenance windows that are way too small, like super short maintenance windows. So config manager thinks like, there's not enough time to install the patch, so I'm simply not going to do it. But we had did you make a note of that link, Andrew? We were doing a course earlier this afternoon, and one of the students shared a really good summary. It was a bit older, but it was a great summary of log resources for troubleshooting of software updates.
Let me see. I definitely can get it.
For a small fee? Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. You said the log reference, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
From the 2016 blog post.
Yes. Oh, I know it's in here. I think I just found it. Yeah, if you'd like to share my screen, I have that up right now.
A moment. Yeah.
So basically, it is showing up. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, basically all the log files around software updates, basically, and whether or not they're client side. So we have a number, like I mentioned earlier, there are these slowdowns can happen in so many different places. So you have some logs that will show up on the client side. You'll have others that are showing up on the server side. And this will detail what each one of these logs is going to do, basically. Might give you an idea of where to start looking. Down here at the bottom, too, you'll also see some common issues how you might resolve them, and some FAQs as well. Yeah, fantastic resource that was shared with us earlier.
Yeah. Other things that can happen is if you have bits policies applied on your devices, that can cause downloads to go quite slow, even from a close by distribution point. Having ConfigMgr configured to basically don't download content that the client themselves are down, that could be an issue or take time. Using peering, it could be that there are no local peers with content and it tries to find them. If you're using Windows 11 or Windows 11 updates, those packages can be quite large. They can be 10, 11 gigs in size, and we have seen, not every time, but we've seen that whole content coming down to clients. And that of course takes some time to download. So it's a bit of an art to figure out why they're slow coming down or slow being installed.
Indeed, and there was a follow-up comment here just now. No maintenance windows, devices are getting content from the DPs, and the devices are very close to the DP.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it could be also that the distribution point is quite big.
Mm-hmm.
There are some. Yeah, they still have that report. Let me. There is in config usage report for distribution point. Distribution point usage summary, where you can specify a DP and a date range, and you can kind of see how busy it is during different days, and that might also indicate that something is going on. So maybe that.
All right. Great tips. Thank you, sir. And I've got this link copied off as well to make sure that gets posted in our links for this evening.
Beautiful.
All right. Let's see. Anything else we've missed? Like mentioned, Windows Backup is still on the built-in app list for non-domain joined or managed systems. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was worried I would remove the Windows Backup that you can use. Yeah.
Exactly.
Would be a better OS if the junk was removed, but yeah.
And we added back what we needed or wanted.
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. So Noah just had a comment here. Just dumped the VBScript into Copilot, and it looks like it was able to successfully convert all the commands and functions and subroutines over to PowerShell. So
yeah, but the thing with Copilot and OpenAI and others, even though if the scripts are not perfect always, they usually take you like 80-90% done, and then you can focus on fixing small bugs that happen to be there, but it saves a lot of time.
Absolutely. So I got a question here on startup scripts, basically. So what are your thoughts on launching the client health script from Anders via GPO on all devices? Asking this question because we're trying not to have logon or startup scripts in GPOs. Is there another way to do this?
A regular scheduled task is just fine. It doesn't have to be at logon. You can have it run on a given time. I just happen to like to have it at Starbucks, but actually checks that everything is okay. But you can use a good policy preference to create a scheduled task to run at 10 Tuesday afternoons at 4 if you want. That the risk of having a given point on a client is that what if it's not online at that point in time? The startup script obviously catches the device when it boots up.
Yep.
But the under script is pretty good. It's been helping a lot of organizations to reach their compliance levels on or client health better. And for those of you who don't know what it's about, here on this post here, there is a link in the bottom to under script. Here we go. I'll put that link in the chat also. Put a link. Make a note of the link. It's been a long day.
So Noah had an additional follow-up on this same topic. We have about half of our company off-site, and they don't always connect to the VPN. Will the CMG function just fine to do the reinstall and have the script be functional for that VBScript? So I think with his follow-up on the VBScript, he's referring to the startup script from Jason.
I haven't seen any parameter to provide the CMG command line argument that you need to throw into CCM setup. May have to update the script to support that. I haven't tried. But obviously, yes, you can install the client without being on the network. You just have to call it differently, because that's what happens when you do autopilot enrollment and have that specific setting done in your autopilot settings. Should be doable to fix the script to support that, but I don't think it does. I could have missed the memo also.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything out of the box for that. I would agree with you. Oh, fantastic questions as always today. This is a pretty fun office hours. I mean, they all are in their own right, but yeah, that's awesome. No, Noah just mentioned keep having little scenarios popping up in his head when conversations start going. That's what this is all about.
An older blog post from 2020 that kind of discussed this a little bit. In this case, it was for reinstallation purposes, but it does show the syntax that you can get out of your ConfigMgr. So basically, borrowing those, see where the command line was here for it. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. So just had a question come in from LinkedIn, from Richard over on LinkedIn. We have switched AV products, and we're trying to clean up the remaining of the old product. Any ideas on how to delete a protected service that is blocking the uninstall?
Usually the vendor provides removal tools for their AV. And that is for the antivirus, and that is usually the recommended option to get rid of it. I have a few scenarios where you have to get rid of it anyway, but the vendors are obviously trying to protect their products from being removed by attackers, basically, or hackers in the environment. So they purposely make it a little bit harder than usual. But in general, if you have system access to a system, obviously you can go in and remove filter drivers and delete services directly from the system itself. But I definitely look into the vendor tool first before starting the journey of figuring out how to do it manually or through scripts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in my experience with a couple of different vendors, basically their portals will provide like an uninstall token, for example, for a given device. Um,
Yeah.
Yep, and again, another follow up here. When we switched from McAfee, they had an uninstall tool, but it was valid for 1 week. Then it would delete itself when executed. So, yep, I think that would be. Oh, yeah, that's rough. There was a follow up here from Richard. All three of the vendor tools failed. Uh,
Yeah, then it's down to a bit of research.
yeah. All right. We've got another question over here on YouTube. How do you monitor compliance each month for your software update groups? Most of my team do this in the monitoring node of the config manager console, but we all know compliance doesn't equal installed. Well, that's funny. I feel like we know someone that was just talking about that recently. Um, so I've got something I will
Shall I
share.
share your screen?
Indeed.
All right.
So let's see. Actually, first things first. Well, I'll show you what I have, and then I'll share the link for this. One of my favorite. There are a number of reports on this, basically, to report on patch compliance in Config Manager. System Center dudes, they have some paid reports, but I would consider them to be fairly low cost for what they provide. They're very nice looking reports. They've got some patch compliance reports. Um, Patch My PC has a Power BI report that you can use for patch compliance as well. A free report. They also have a much more their advanced insights tool, which will give you some not only patch compliance but some other things. But there's a completely free report that I also like much more than the native built-in reports, and that's the one that I have up on the screen here. So this is a set of reports from Jonas Omsen, who works over at Microsoft. And so basically, if I run this top level report here, software update compliance overview, and run this, don't concern yourself with the number of not compliant devices I have in my lab here. Um, but basically, we get a lot of great information right off the bat, I think. So we can do some filtering here. We can filter based on collections. We can exclude specific deployments. We can show the month that we want to report on. So typically, if I'm running this, I'm looking at the current month. And what we'll see here is the total patch compliance or the overall patch compliance for devices in a given collection based on the parameters that we have set here, as well as reboot pending. This is a nice way to, as mentioned here, we all know that compliance doesn't necessarily mean installed. We also know that patches aren't necessarily installed unless you've rebooted your device. So we can report on device reboots here. We can report on scan errors, system errors, and we get some nice red, green, yellow. Very simple to understand, good, bad, and maybe going bad soon if you don't fix it. But beyond those high-level compliance metrics that we have here at the top of the report, we can start to click through and actually drill down into specific devices that and more information about why they're not compliant. So here I clicked on a device that looked like it had not updated for a while. We see any maintenance windows that we have assigned to this. So Johan was mentioning maybe you have an issue where patches aren't coming down because your maintenance window is too short. We could report on that right here in this report. Maybe this device had, if it had a maintenance window, we would see that it's got a 20-minute maintenance window. That's not going to do the trick. We can also ensure that the device is in the proper collection that we have our updates deployed to. And then the real important stuff, I think, are what patches are missing. And we have that information right here. So that's a quick rundown of this solution. I like this one a lot because it's just made freely available. It's been kept up to date. I actually noticed earlier today that I'm a couple of dot releases behind, and I updated this fairly recently. So this is, though it's coming from somebody that works at Microsoft, it is a give back to the community. So I'll share this and some of those others that I mentioned as well. But I like these a little bit more than the native tools. I don't know about you, Johan.
Totally agree.
All right.
All right. Anything else? I have sort of tip from Gary there to open up a support case with a vendor that was regarding the antivirus that refused to uninstall itself. So
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, those can be a royal pain.
Yeah,
for sure.
Still having nightmares of old Norton antivirus.
Oh yes.
Those were the days. Good old Norton.
Indeed.
So we had a question coming in on YouTube regarding software update groups. Do we have separate software update groups for Windows 10, 11, Office, third-party updates like Patch My PC, etc.? Normally, yes. I have typically 4. I have one for servers, one for clients, one for Office, and one for third-party. That's like a bare minimum. Same update group and the same deployment package, but they tend to be quite large, those packages. One of my packages is it can easily go be 100 gig in size. And of course, you need to shuffle around all that content to your distribution points, and it's, yeah. No, definitely recommend doing that. I don't see any more comments coming in at the moment.
Well, I think we've got everything for now.
Yeah, if we missed anyone, it was absolutely not on purpose.
We just had one come in. I've tried using the client health script before, but I noticed some machines ran the script and started getting updates for Windows updates online for a short period. Are many others using that script?
If you refer to underscript, it's been a quite popular script. I haven't seen it causing updates getting down automatically, but what I do know is that each of the checks that the script supports, they have, some of them will have like a mitigate equals true or fix equals true action. So you can either configure it to just report on it or to actually do something about it. So maybe check that. If the action that is checking for updates is actually having a fix equals true in it.
All right. Hopefully easy question from Noah, and I think, yes, it is an easy question. We want to stick with ConfigMgr, but our company is moving to the cloud. Can you host ConfigMgr VMs within Azure VMs, or does it need to stay on-prem?
No, you can absolutely host it on Azure. It's bloody expensive, but you can have it there. You still need to have some sort of site-to-site connection to that VM, but Azure is just another data center as far as ConfigManager is concerned.
Yep.
It doesn't care where the VM is hosted. As long as the clients can reach it, life is good.
That's it. Gary says it's expensive with 3 exclamation points.
Yeah, bloody expensive. Yep.
And he also says you have a nice shirt on.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yep, great follow-up from Noah there. That's what I thought, but our budget-minded company may not like the cost. Yeah?
Well, if ConfigMgr server is the one machine that allows you or doesn't allow you to remove your data center, yeah, it's probably cheaper to have a VM running in Azure doing the work. But if you have a data center already, it's usually cheaper to run it on premises.
Yep.
Kurt responded back, and thank you for chiming in there. For silence, I was able to disable the servers and then reboot and uninstall after the services were stopped. So, all right, good tip.
Thanks, Kurt.
All right. I think that was the last one.
I think so.
All right, then. As always, thank you, everyone, for the great conversations. Thank you, guys, for joining. Thank you, Andrew, and we'll see you guys hopefully next week again. Bye for now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Johan, and thank you, everybody, for joining. Have a great rest of your week.